Hi, I'm Christiane Bella, and welcome to this waxing moon circle. So, we are in this beautiful halfway point, this juiciness of the waxing moon in Cancer, which is this interesting time because here we are at this like yin yang balance of the dark and the light side of the moon. And we have this opportunity to see those parts of ourselves, right? Like the Cancer, the crab, it sidesteps, and crabs in a group have a tendency, if under pressure or captured, they go against themselves. So I was really sitting a lot with self-sabotage and with the parts that the light is actually sometimes more challenging than the dark. I had a tea with somebody today, and we were talking about how, the irony of this, oh, if you don't love me at my worst, like you can't have me at my best. And I personally think that like loving at the worst is almost the easiest. It's like the low-hanging fruit, to match down. I find is actually the easier thing to do. It's more challenging to hold my expansive space, to uh, be my fullest, largest, most extravagant uh, self. And so yeah, so I'm like, I want people who like love me at my like biggest best, who love me in my most queen goddess magnificentness. Uh because I believe that's the hardest part even for myself, to not feel small and to not uh dive in and like enjoy the indulgent victim uh side of being in shadow work, and using that, to some degree, um to hide from your inherent light and worthiness. And yeah, I mean, I think, when I sit with the power of who I am, that is startling to me. My power as a true being of God, of light, of energy, of source energy. Like I am a cosmic fucking miracle, and the awe of that, and the power and the potential and the possibility and the opportunity to be in this, sometimes like holy fuck, like what do I do with all of that? And so, shrinking down and containing and confining it, sometimes feels safer, and like the cozy binky. I had a dog. I had this fabulous Doodles. He's a part pit bull, part boxer. He's a big fucking dog. Um, and I also had a Chihuahua at the same time, a Chihuahua mix. And he would always go into her bed. Like he loved being in her tiny bed and like being confined. And I see it in my work, with BDSM, like people who have really grand, heavily like large, responsible, where they're in charge, they want to have this moment to like be small and be taken care of. Um, and so I think, what's been coming up for me a lot is not judging. Like you can't bully yourself into embracing your big badassness. The parts of you that, for me, the self-sabotage is showing up in like acting out in my distractive addictions of TV, food, and smoking pot. So that's where I've been, you know, shrinking back down and engaging with the more dense energies of my being, and my more dense parts. And the biggest gift that I've given myself is just to really understand and love that like all parts of me, especially my fear parts, like they are trying to protect me. They think they are doing a fucking phenomenal job of keeping me alive and safe, and And in a lot of ways they are, but it's like there's a lot of paths to me being alive and living as safe as possibly can be, mitigating the risk to life adventure. um and so with that, you know comes deciding, like, well, which avenue, which path am I going to gravitate towards, because they everything has a certain trajectory that like comes around again, and everything has a like invested to receptive ratio, what we're putting in and what we're taking out, what we're receiving, what we're giving. And we get to play with that. We get to play with that pulse. And so I love that we're in this like watery Cancer moon. This Cancer is the cardinal water energy. So it knows both sides. It knows to be fixed. It knows to the crabs have that hard shell. It knows that space. It also knows the fluidness, like the Pisces, the mutable. Um, and it's just like with anything, like, are you like snapping at yourself, because the hurt part of you likes to hurt yourself because it almost feels like better to know where the pain comes from. It's like the hurt part of you that's so used to and finds it so familiar to have suffering, that it creates and engages with self-suffering, um in this like existential kink way, in a way that it's like, oh, it hurts so good, and then also in a way that feels like safer, because it's like, oh, it hurts so good and I know where the source is coming from, so I somehow feel in control of the pain. And that holding on to the pain and co-creating the pain, somehow is like a protective defense from other potential pain that could be worse than the pain that that you're self-inflicting. um so yeah, so okay, now how the fuck do we untangle all that, because that was a lot of heavy deep shit. All right, so let's take some deep breaths, rub your hands together. Two more deep breaths in through the nose. Make a sound out the mouth. And then press the palms together. And then slowly begin to open the hands out and feel that energy, the vibration on your fingertips, the expansive energy between your hands across your heart center. And then bring the palms to rest on the heart center. Feeling the electricity through the fingertips, feeling the heartbeat, the breath moving. And try to just breathe in and out your nose and feel this straw-like effect, just sipping air in and exhaling it out. And as you do so, feel yourself from your pelvic floor, through your belly, through your lungs, through the throat, all the way to the crown of the head. Maybe you even see the energy moving up the channel of your spine, down from the pelvic floor to the crown, from the crown to the roots, and all the spaces in between. So that's where we're going to find the peace, right? The moon doesn't just have, well, first off, it's all the perception, right? I mean, like, the moon actually doesn't fucking change. The moon is the moon. It's our perception that changes. And that's what I think is the beautiful part of doing moon circles and having an awareness of the moon, is that, like, we have a moment to check in about, like, our perception. Like, right now, like, what is your perception? So, is the perception of yourself, like, I am going to expand my light, or is it like I want to stay in the part that's unseen? There is no right or wrong. Like there's a place for both, and that's the beauty of like the spaces in between. The ability to know that resting and stillness and being there is just as much an important part of the whole fucking thing as as your expansive self is. There's actually something that came to me before. Oh, yes. Okay, so this is great. So yearning, the roots of the word yearning in Hebrew, um it's the same root origin as the word for passion. So like yearning and passion come from like the same root Hebrew word. um so it's this like moving towards your desire and allowing the space in between. And so right now we're in this beautiful space of the yin and the yang, the half and half, the that paradoxal place. And so it's like, where do you allow it to meet? So as you're breathing, just really feeling into the spaces in between, and now start to add a pause. So you're gonna like sip in a little air and feel the connection from your roots to your belly button, and pause, and then sip in a little bit more air and feel the connection from your belly button to your heart, and pause, and then sip in a little more air and feel the connection from your heart to your third eye, and pause. And then you'll do the same thing as you exhale out. So it becomes this 4-part breath. So you exhale out just a little bit and you pause. You exhale out a little bit more. And the energy move back down the channels. So do it with you. And so it's a gentle 4-part breath. Just finding a little space in between. You can even bring your hands into it. You can inhale. Good. We're going to do that a couple more times. And if your mind begins to wander, you can even add a mental thought. You can add to the spaces sa, ta, na, ma. So inhale, sipping the breath all the way from the pelvic floor. Good. And we'll do that 3 more times, connecting all the pieces, sipping air in, root, belly, heart, crown, crown, heart, belly, roots. Finding the space in between. Good. And as you complete the last cycle of breath, take a deep breath. Inhale through the nose. Inhale, reach the arms up. And big exhale out the mouth. As you sweep the arms down, do that 2 more times. Wonderful. So let's pull a card. I have this fabulous deck that I love to pieces. It is the Divine Feminine. We're going to pull a card. And if you want to grab a pen and paper, because the card is going to serve as our journal prompt. So if you feeling inspired to do some journaling. I love journaling. I feel like journaling is a wonderful way to get clarity, to get out of my head, to see it on paper, and then, burn it, tear it up, whatever it is. Some stuff I save. I have journals, I've gone back and seen beautiful things that I've created that I wrote about. Yeah, I find, we all have different tools, and I find journaling to be a really powerful one for me. So, let's see what the divine wisdom, goddess, Yoni power has for us. La Lela, the saint of spoken words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am author of my own story. Here she is with all of that fucking light. Those rooted trees. Yes. So yeah, like, we were just saying, it's you get to decide. You get to decide what it means, and you get to decide, what piece of the cycle you're in, and to allow yourself to be there with compassion, because that's actually how we change and expand. We don't grow by like beating ourselves up. You don't go outside and like stamp on the ground like yelling, why isn't this flower growing faster? Like it's a gentle, loving, nurturing, there's a tenderness to it. And so, when we think about this Cancer crab energy, like how how can you be less crabby to yourself? How can you be softer and kinder to yourself, and bring in some of that more fluid side of the watery energy. Let's see, where is a little bit more about our goddess here? Embodying potency and power. Yes. Poetry. Creator of the mystical form of poetry, speech. Allow your words to reflect the spiritual truth of non duality, your mystical side. Yes. Words have the power to shift our reality or to continue to reinforce it. Every word you say is an affirmation. This is perhaps one of the most crucial spiritual lessons to remember. We are not separate from the soul, and if the soul is not separate from the divine, then we have the power to co-create our life. This is an invitation to pay close attention to each word we say within ourselves and all the words we say about ourselves to the people we love. Every acknowledgement from the soul, that is our every sentence, is a prayer. If we want more love, more light, more capacity, more freedom, more joy, we are ever expanding in the present world. This is a reminder to become the author of your own reality right now and speak your desires into being. A reminder how powerful words are to change, and to choose to focus your attention on your statements and infuse your lives with the nectar that comes when we act on the truth that we are not separate from the divine. So our prompt is, what are the most powerful words for me to use frequently right now? What are the most powerful words for me to use frequently right now? So journal, take a moment to journal on that. we're just gonna take another minute or so to just stream of consciousness, just let it flow, let it come out. And as you're wrapping up your writing, take a couple of deep breaths. Know that you can always come back to that writing prompt later. So what definitely has been coming up for me in my writing, and affirmation I've been doing a lot, which I believe is part of this big transformation, that I'm able to really love my inner addict and that compulsive give me part of myself, is that my freedom and pleasure effortlessly align for the highest of my well-being. Um, because I think it's so important when we look at the parts of ourselves that want to come in and like distract, or what we would call like sabotage, is that there isn't this like malicious want to like attack the self. Like there really is this desire to create comfort in what is familiar. um so just, slowly bringing in gentle changes and shifts in these things, that, allowing for new ritual to be created, for new comfort that is more expansive into our highest self. So it's not about denying me anything that brings me pleasure. If I like genuinely feel mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, in my wholeness of my being, that it's time to eat a cookie, then it's time to eat a cookie. But it's when I'm detached and fragmented and scattered, and or trying to like compensate, or how, it's just really getting refined in the intention and the reasoning and the motivation. And even in those moments, then when I'm fragmented and I eat the fucking cookie, or I smoke the weed, or whatever it is, like, to not be like, oh, I'm a piece of shit and I deserve to like feel bad about feeling bad about my choices. Like it's so much about like returning to the wholeness that's like, oh, in all of these states you are loved. um but like, you know do you want to keep doing the thing because I think we fear our bigness? I'm certainly like, if I really like pick apart um the hero and victim paradigm, the being a victim was easier. The idea of being a hero is like very intimidating. um and then of course we can toss that aside altogether, but I think we do have archetypes, we do have personas, there are energies. um and so yeah, so when you're transitioning from one familiar comfort zone role in your life to another, yeah, it can be really challenging to not feel like you're taking two steps forward and one step back. And and I think the compassion to be like, it's okay to to have done some little crab style side steps. you know um like sometimes the zigzag is the path of compassion, to just give yourself that room. Healing my perfectionist is a huge part of not just this waxing moon, but I think it's been a theme for like the last like year or two. is that, to love that flawed um part, because those are actually the parts of ourselves that need even more fucking love. um so yeah, so finally we're gonna wrap up here in just a minute. I want to leave you with an I am. I am is a wonderful chant to just like really center in the self and like the most essence part of ourself. So we'll do some I am, and yeah, this has been beautiful. Yay, virtual circle fun time. Um, yeah, thank you for enjoying and viewing. I would love to hear what you wrote about. If you want to share in the comments about the journal prompt, um, and I'll actually read you from the Moonology. I'll read to you about this moon. This moon, our first quarter waxing moon, is your commitment is being tested. And I don't really like to think that the universe tests us, but I think we're always given opportunities to play the game and show up and decide. And and like the card, the feminine card was talking about, like we are the authors, we are co-creating this. So yes, this time is a reminder that, being willing to put in the effort, putting in the effort and being devoted, and a sense of connection and commitment to your desire, to your passion, to receiving. It's that exchange, and just really being able to have that discernment to know when something is and just like, I think the I am is going to be a great chance to harness that, to really be clear about when is that moment of like, okay, I keep tripping on this pebble, does that mean I need to divert and take another path, or is this an opportunity to really dig in and harness and transmute that glitch moment in my life, that move that shadow energy into the light. So yes, this is a time to remember that the stepping stones are, it's part of where we want to be. So staying the course, and knowing that, to believe in yourself, moving towards your desire with commitment. Yes, move towards your desire with commitment. All right, so we're gonna do some I am. Rub your hands together again. Bring the hands to the forehead. May your thoughts be loving. Bring your hands to your heart. May your love guide your way on. And then we'll actually bring our index finger on both hands together, and we'll bring them together like little eyeglasses and bring them to your heart. And just feeling that infinite energy and that expansive energy connecting in and expanding out this beautiful cycle, rooting and rising, coming into the essence of being, the chant I am. Deep breath in, exhale everything away. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. We'll do 4 more. I am. I am. I am. I And as you take a deep breath in, reach your arms up into the air. And exhale, let your hands float down. 2 more times. Inhale, expand. Exhale, relax. Feel all the energy within you and around you in divine harmony. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Peace be with you. Thank you for being here with me. I am Christiane Bella, your intimacy architect, modern medicine woman, and Queen Cuntalicious. It has been my glorious honor to guide you in this beautiful waxing moon practice. Blessings to you.